Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive with us.
It's a wild one today.
It really is. We've got everything from like crazy weather, messing with everyone trying to get home after Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
To a big political appointment that has people in Washington talking.
Definitely causing a stir.
But, we're also going to get to a feel-good story later on.
Always good to have a little hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just get lost in all the headlines flying around.
Yeah, you can get overwhelmed for sure.
But that's why we do these deep dives, right?
That's right. Cut through the noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to break down the most interesting stories and help you understand why they actually matter.
What's the real impact?
So let's jump right into it. And we got to start with this massive snowstorm.
It's a monster.
It is. We're talking up to 6 feet of snow in some areas around the Great Lakes.
6 feet? That's taller than most people.
I know, right? Like imagine trying to get out your front door and you're just met with a wall of snow. And this isn't the light fluffy stuff either. This is the heavy dense snow.
So even trying to shovel it is going to be a nightmare.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even snowblowers are having trouble with it. There are some crazy pictures coming out of Watertown, New York.
What have you seen?
Cars are completely buried. You can't even see them. It's like they were just swallowed up by the snow.
That's wild. And you know what makes this even worse is the timing. This weekend was supposed to be one of the busiest travel days of the year.
Millions of people heading home after Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
And now they're stuck. Thousands of flights are delayed or canceled. Roads are impossible to drive on. It's just chaos.
I bet.
The governor of Pennsylvania has even declared a state of emergency in Erie County. What does that even mean practically? What happens when a state of emergency is declared?
Well, basically it gives the authorities a lot more power to respond to the crisis. Like they can deploy the National Guard.
Oh, wow.
Set up emergency shelters and get extra money for clearing the snow and helping people get back on their feet. It's a big deal.
It really shows you how serious this storm is. It makes you think about all the people in these areas. How are they dealing with this? There are real people behind these headlines.
It's easy to forget that sometimes.
I read that the Buffalo Bills game is still scheduled to go on.
No way. Are they real?
Yeah, despite the blizzard. They have fans and snowplows working around the clock trying to dig out the stadium before kickoff.
Wow, talk about dedicated fans. But seriously though, that just shows you how much this storm is disrupting everyday life.
Absolutely. It's crazy to think about all the work that goes into just getting back to normal after something like this.
It's not just the snow removal either, right? You've got potential power outages, damage to buildings, and businesses are losing money because they have to close. The effects of a storm this big can last for months.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that we need to be ready for extreme weather and make sure our infrastructure can handle it.
We need to be able to bounce back.
Okay, well, let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's causing a lot of buzz in Washington.
Oh, what's that?
President-elect Trump just nominated Kash Patel to be the new FBI director.
Oh, wow, that's a big one. And I bet it's sparking a lot of debate.
To say the least. So who is this guy, and why is everyone so surprised by this pick?
Well, Patel worked in the Trump administration before. He's a really strong supporter of the president, and he's known for making some pretty bold statements like saying he wants to dismantle the deep state.
Okay, I've heard that phrase, but what does that even mean? And what does it tell us about how Patel sees the FBI?
It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot by people who think there's like a secret group of bureaucrats in the government.
Oh, trying to undermine elected officials.
Right. And so when Patel says dismantle the deep state, it makes people think he doesn't trust the FBI as it is and wants to change it.
That definitely raises some concerns about political influence over the FBI, especially because, Trump has been openly critical of the agency and its current director, Chris Wray.
Yeah, he even called for Wray to resign.
It makes you wonder if Trump is trying to put someone in charge of the FBI who will be loyal to him and agree with his views.
And to make things even more interesting, Patel's confirmation in the Senate might not be a smooth ride. Even some Republicans are hesitant about him.
That's pretty unusual, isn't it?
It is. It shows you that even some of Trump's usual supporters are worried about Patel's past statements and his close ties to the president. This whole thing is going to be interesting to watch.
For sure. Okay, well, let's take a break from all the political drama and talk about something that'll warm your heart.
Sounds good to me.
Down in Texas, there's this courtroom where something amazing is happening.
What's going on?
It's a special adoption day, and the judge is dressed up in holiday clothes.
Ah, that's sweet.
I know, right? His name is Judge Randy Shelton, and he's presiding over this day where almost 20 children are finding their forever homes. It's a record for this court.
Wow, that's incredible. What makes this day so special?
Well, the judge is really dedicated to finding loving families for kids, especially during the holidays. He goes all out to make it memorable.
I bet the families are so grateful.
They are. One parent said, "It's been a long journey. There's no more back and forth. We love them so much. Just happy that they can be happy kids."
That's so beautiful. It's stories like this that remind us there's still good in the world, even with all the crazy stuff happening.
It really does give you hope. Amidst all the chaos and uncertainty, these moments of love and joy are what matter most.
Couldn't agree more. It has been quite a day so far.
Yeah, it really has. While all this was happening here in the U.S., there was another dramatic story unfolding overseas.
Oh, yeah.
A hostage situation in Gaza.
Right. That's been all over the news.
It's a story that I think can get lost sometimes, with all the bigger political stuff going on.
It's easy to forget about the individual people caught in the middle of it all.
Exactly. We're talking about Nadana,
Yeah.
an American hostage being held by Hamas.
I saw that his family is begging for his release.
Yeah, they released a propaganda video with him in it, and it just breaks your heart. He's only 20 years old.
That's so young.
His mom has been pleading with both the Israelis and Hamas, urging them to work together and get her son back. Can you imagine?
I can't even imagine. To see your child held captive like that, it must be a nightmare.
And it's not just about Nadana, it's about all the hostages caught in this conflict. This whole situation is so complex because of the history between Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, it's a delicate situation trying to negotiate for the hostages' release while also dealing with all the political tension.
Are there any signs of progress? Any hope for these families?
Well, there have been some talks. A Hamas delegation went to Cairo to discuss a possible ceasefire.
Okay.
And President Biden said the U.S. is working hard to bring the hostages home. But it's a really fluid situation. Things can change quickly.
So we just have to wait and see and hope for the best. And while all this is happening in the Middle East, there's another conflict escalating in Syria, one that could have a big impact on the region.
You're talking about the rebel offensive against the Syrian government.
Yeah. Some are saying it's the biggest challenge to Assad's power since the civil war started back in 2011.
That's a long time.
I know. Syrian rebels, including a group connected to al-Qaeda, launched a surprise attack trying to overthrow Assad.
That's a bold move. How has the government responded?
They're fighting back with airstrikes, targeting areas controlled by the rebels. Aleppo and Idlib have been hit pretty hard.
Oh, man.
And sadly, there are reports of civilians being killed, including women and children.
It's just awful. Another devastating cycle of violence.
Yeah, it's hard to see any end in sight. And it's a good reminder that while we're focused on what's happening here at home, there are people all over the world dealing with unimaginable hardships, fighting for their lives.
We have to remember to keep things in perspective.
I think we could all use a little break from these heavy topics.
Agreed.
Let's go back to that heartwarming adoption story in Texas for a minute.
Oh, yes, with the judge in the Santa hat.
Yeah, Judge Randy Sheldon. What a beautiful story amidst all this turmoil.
It really is.
It reminds us that even in the darkest times, there's still so much kindness and compassion in the world.
And it shows how powerful human connection is, how important family is.
So true. Okay, before we move on, I wanted to touch on something a bit lighter, but still really fascinating.
What's that?
Cyber Monday, the biggest online shopping day of the year.
Are you going to try to snag some deals?
Oh, you know me. I can't resist a good bargain. But honestly, what I find most interesting is the behind-the-scenes stuff. How do they manage all those orders? The scale of it is just mind-blowing.
There's a logistical masterpiece, for sure.
Billions of dollars being spent online in one day.
Yeah.
They need a crazy complex system to handle it all.
I can't even imagine.
There was this report about a Walmart fulfillment center in Pennsylvania that's the size of 26 football fields.
Wow.
Miles of conveyor belts, hundreds of thousands of packages, and over 1,000 workers getting ready for Cyber Monday. It's like a well-oiled machine.
Everyone working together.
And it's not just people. They have robots and AI working alongside the humans to make everything as efficient as possible.
That's amazing.
It really shows you how much we can achieve when we combine technology and human ingenuity.
I could definitely use a little escape from reality right about now.
Me too. And what better escape than the movies?
Oh, yeah. Always a good distraction.
Let's talk about some of the big Hollywood releases that are making waves. Moana 2 just came out, and it's already shattering box office records.
Really? I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard good things.
It's huge. It made almost twice as much as the previous record holder.
That's impressive, especially these days when everyone's streaming stuff at home.
I know, right?
Oh.
It really shows that people still love going to the movies.
So what's driving all the hype? Is it just the Disney magic, or is there something more to it?
Well, I think nostalgia definitely plays a role. People love seeing familiar characters again, especially if it reminds them of happy times. But this movie isn't just a rehash of the original. The animation is amazing, like visually stunning. They've really pushed the boundaries. And the music is just as catchy as the first one. You'll be humming those tunes for days.
Sounds like Disney knows what they're doing.
They do. And Moana 2 isn't the only movie making headlines. Wicked, the adaptation of the Broadway musical, is also killing it at the box office.
Oh, I love that musical. I can't wait to see it on the big screen.
It really shows that movie musicals are still a huge draw for audiences.
There's just something about them, isn't there?
Yeah, they transport you to a different world with the music and the dancing and the story all woven together. It's magical. And then there's Gladiator 2.
The sequel.
Yep, the sequel to the original epic. It's exceeding expectations too.
I guess people are still hungry for those big cinematic experiences.
Exactly. There's something special about seeing a movie in a theater, you know?
Yeah, being surrounded by other people all reacting to the same story.
It's a shared experience that you just don't get at home. Like when everyone gasps at the same time or laughs together. It's powerful.
It's the magic of cinema.
Well said. Okay, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive for today. We've gone from a monster snowstorm to heartwarming adoptions, from international conflicts to the magic of movies.
It's been a wild ride.
It has. We've seen the highs and lows of human experience.
Good and the bad.
Exactly. And as always, we encourage you to keep thinking about these stories.
Yeah, what resonated with you?
What questions do you still have?
Talk about it with your friends, your family.
Keep those conversations going.
And if you're craving more deep dives into the news that matters most,
be sure to subscribe to our channel and join us for our next episode.
Yeah.
Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the world with an open mind.